I don't think I love you no more. You never seem to call me lately, but I don't think she knew me at all.
Alright everybody, I'm super excited. I'll tell you why in just a second. But quick disclaimer, I'm not saying that this beyond a reasonable doubt proves anything. However, to me, this did it for me. What I'm about to show you did it for me. If there was any room in my mind that, you know, if I had any doubts at all before about Item FL, I have none. There are no more doubts at all in my mind that Item FL 1000% is Planet. Now, some of you, in your minds, you might have already known that. Even some guilters don't even believe that she was shot. But if you are somebody who knows Steven Avery did not shoot. Now, I'm not talking about all the other evidence. I'm breaking down the bullet. If you know for a fact that Steven Avery did not shoot Teresa Halbach, especially with the bullet that they said went through her brain, you should love this video. You should agree with what I'm about to show you in this video. If you're somebody that thinks and believes that everything happened exactly the way the state did, and you happen to be watching this video, because most of the time the haters don't want to listen, you should really keep an open mind and look and think about what I'm about to show you. So, what am I talking about? I've been thinking since my 22 experiment video. I did some more test trials the other day. I showed y'all what happens to a 22 bullet when it meets an object it can't go through. These flat fragments is what you're left with. I did a video on that. I showed you. Okay, well, I've been thinking all the last couple of days, how can I shoot a bullet through wood and be able to recover the bullet? I need to recover it in the same condition that Item FL was found in. So today I got home, I got some softer wood. It was like 3/4 inch and some particle board, and I put some objects behind it, some stuff I was going to throw away anyway, pillow and some other stuff. And after a few tries, I was finally successful. And it literally took me about 10 tries to actually be able to recover the bullet. So, without further ado, I'm about to show you this bullet. But I have better pictures that I zoomed in and took with my camera. Here shortly, I'm going to be putting up on the screen. I'm going to show you what the bottom of the bullet on Item FL looks like. And then I'm going to show you what the bottom of the bullet on my bullet looks like. I'm going to show you what the top of Item FL looks like. Then I'm going to show you what the top of my bullet looks like. I mean, it's scary, the similarities between these two bullets. So, now, Kathleen Zellner, the attorney for Steven Avery, she did a more controlled experiment, even more so than I did. They went to the actual garage and they shot bullets through the garage, and to me that summed it up. But I like to do things for myself. I like to see if I can replicate it myself. Now, disclaimer, I'm not saying it proves anything. Like I stated earlier, you know, it doesn't prove anything. So if any haters are watching this video, I had somebody comment on one of my videos saying it's junk science. No, it's not junk science. I'm not saying, oh, this is exonerates Steven Avery, I can bring this to a court of law. I'm not stupid. I know this is not a controlled experiment with controlled variables, with the same gun, the same ammunition, whatever. However, this is the closest to the same ammunition that Steven Avery was using. He was using CCI Mini Mag hollow points. This is a Remington hollow point. This is the bullet that I shot. This is the one I'm about to show you. So I used what I had, okay? Which in my mind further helps prove my point that I was able to replicate it so well with different ammunition, different gun, etc., and I was still able to replicate it so well. So this is the bullet. First, I'll show you a side view. This is the bullet. It's circular. Okay. Now, and keep in mind, I'm going to show you better pictures of this. This is the bottom of the bullet. And I'm going to show you what item FL looked like for those who don't remember. If you see and you look in here, there's a little indentation in the bottom of the bullet. Now, this is the top of the bullet. You're not going to be able to see in this camera perfectly, but there is wood embedded in this lead. That's what it looks like. Circular. This is what I've been talking about. This is a bullet that has went through something that couldn't stop it. So for instance, the bullet was shot through Steven Avery's garage. It didn't have enough power to go through the other side of the garage, but when it bounced around in there and landed wherever they found it, if that's how it went down, what I'm saying is, in my mind, this proves that there is no way that the bullet that they claim went through Teresa Halbach, there's no way that bullet went through Teresa Halbach. The DNA had to be planted. If the DNA was planted on the bullet, how can you still sit here and say, with all of the questions around about the key, with all of the questions about the bullet, about the blood stained by the ignition that is so clearly put on with a Q-tip or applicator, swab, whatever you want to call it, how can you still sit there and say that that Steven Avery is 100% guilty and all of the evidence is true and all of this? You're lying to yourself. And most of the people that I run into on Facebook or whatever, the ones that think that I'm absolutely out of my mind, I really get a sense that they know themselves that they feel deep down that Steven Avery and Brendan Dassey are innocent. They just can't come to terms with it. I mean, the skull, for instance, Kathleen Zellner's ballistic expert consultant did a controlled experiment shooting 22 rounds through bone into soft tissue simulant or whatever they call it, and it didn't even pass through the soft tissue part to even contact the other bone. I mean, experiments have been done. There's always been a question in this case if a 22 can even go through the skull, and then guilters will turn right around and say, well, maybe it was shot through soft tissue. That's not what the state's claiming. The state is claiming she was shot twice in the head, and that bullet that they found had Teresa's Halbach DNA. So by those statements, they're saying that bullet went through her head. I'm here to tell you that bone is harder than wood. For it to have enough power to pass all the way through the skull, through the brain, enter and exit, even if it did, it would not look like this. I'm telling you. So, you can say what you want. You can say it's junk science. You can say it's irrelevant. You can say that I don't know what I'm talking about. You could pick this video apart. You could pick my experiment apart. But I'm highly motivated, more than I ever was, because of this bullet. I'm a believer. I've always been taught, and there's an old saying, and everybody has heard it. I've always been taught that if it walks like a duck, if it quacks like a duck, if it waddles like a duck, if it flies like a duck, or if it floats on top of the water like a duck, then it's probably a duck. And item FL is a duck, in my opinion. This really is going to, I might bring it up in other videos, but this is going to be my last video on item FL, because to me, I have convinced myself with this experiment that there is no doubt, there is no room left for any doubt in my mind, that bullet had DNA planted on it. Now, I don't know if it was chapstick. I don't know what the heck it was. Some people claim that the jelly that they use to look at the tool marks goes on the back. Some say it goes on the front. I think it does go on the front. Okay, and that's how that when they get another bullet to put side by side, that's how they line them up. So I think the ballistic jelly, or whatever you want to call it, does go on the front of the bullet. However, so if it's not chapstick on the front of item FL, even if it was, it had been washed for DNA, but even if it was still that stuff to where they stick it on there to look at the tool marks, they don't have cotton fibers on that. They don't put cotton fibers on there. And the pictures I'm going to show you, they clearly have cotton fibers on them. You can see them. So, to me, that neutralizes that argument. And it's incredible how, it's incredible how people can sit there and not see the coincidence in this whole thing. I have people that argue with me frequently, and they literally think to believe what I believe, that different things was planted and all of this and that, they think that I'm absolutely nuts. The people think that I'm like crazy, some of these people. And I think they're crazy, because how can you not look at this? Look at the similarity. I mean, they're strikingly similar, especially in the pictures that I put in this video. You can see the wood. I mean, it's almost identical. So I'm pumped up about it. It took me many of tries to be able to get the right combination of targets to be able to shoot through and actually be able to recover a bullet still intact and not destroyed. So that's it for item FL. In my mind, I have proven that bullet is fabricated. That's it. So I'll move on to something else. I've covered the key at length about the wear marks. There's no wear marks on the key. I've talked to DNA experts about the key. I've interviewed them. I've provided that information in videos, how you would expect to only find the owners of the key's DNA on there, or a mixture. And it's clear to see, anybody can see there's no wear marks on that key. So, and just like Mike Halbach said on the key, well, when Kayla or Carla, whatever her name was on the stand, he said she was lying for Brendan. She said that Brendan never told her anything about Teresa Halbach. And then Mike Halbach saying, well, she's up there lying. That's her family. I think any of us would do that. Well, that neutralized the argument of Teresa Halbach's sister getting up there claiming that she knows for a fact Teresa lost her keys and bought her this lanyard and all this stuff. I mean, she could be lying for her family. So I've covered the key at length. I've covered the bullet. To me, in my mind, I've solved both of those issues. I've talked about the blood. That one would be a lot harder. So now I'm going to move on to something else. I want to get into cell phone towers. That one's going to be tricky. That one's going to be a lot harder. Just pulling up, I was trying to Google. I wanted to see all of the towers in that area. And just doing that's hard enough just to find a clear, accurate picture of where all the cell phone towers was in that area. So I think as far as individual videos, that's where I'm headed next, possibly, unless I come across another item I want to cover. But So I'm probably going to be covering cell phone tower and that kind of data next. And then me and Thomas, like I said in my other video, we have a series. We're going to start a live chat series, and I believe we're going to call it the Secret History of Manitowoc County, something like that. We have a crap ton of information to cover in that. There ain't no telling how many live chats it would take to just even go through all of this. Some of the information he has is outstanding. So make sure you stay tuned. You know, keep up to date with my videos if you're interested. Like, share, subscribe, particularly this video. If you don't mind, if you would share this video, to me, this is some of my finest work. As far as, you know, just digging in and trying to replicate something that the state claimed happened. And to me, in my mind, being able to refute it. So, particularly this video, if you don't mind, please share this anywhere you can. And until next time, y'all have a good one. And let me know what you think in the comment section. I'm pretty pumped up about it, and I appreciate y'all watching this video.